Hello, this is Fly Mama 777 and my name is Janice, and I just want to thank you for joining me on my new channel. I want to share with you, if you can figure it out by the name, I am a flight attendant. I became a flight attendant in February of this year, which is 2014. How or why did I become a flight attendant? Well, for some of you who may know me from my other channels, JJ714, I also have a newer channel, or it's older than this one, called I Am Unique in Him. And I decided to start this channel because I want to exclusively focus on flight attending and providing any information that I can to assist anyone who's interested in being a flight attendant, or maybe you are currently a flight attendant and you just want to chime in from time to time. I went on a cruise in October last year, and I had no idea that a couple of my friends that also attended the cruise, they were actually flight attendants. And so at the time I was not working. If you remember, as a matter of fact, I had not worked this particular time for 2 years. Prior to that, I had not worked for almost 3 years. It was 2 years and 9 months. And in between those two unemployment periods, I did an internship with the U.S. Forest Service. So I was pretty much content being at home, even though I have worked since I was like 15 or so. And for me to just be at home, even though I enjoyed being there, because when my daughter got home from school, I could take her to school. When she got home off the bus, I was home. I enjoyed spending time, preparing food for my family, taking care of the house, just spending time with God, exercising, because I enjoyed walking and so forth. And when it got too cold, I would go to the gym. Well, even with that, if you're a person that typically you're a people person, being at home can sometimes be a little bit, I don't want to use the word depressing, because I was not at all depressed. Now, my first unemployment period of time, I could probably say, yeah, I was depressed. But the second one, I was actually enjoying it, because I actually did get out and volunteer and do things with my daughter at her school. I've met people, so I tried to, form contacts and so forth. However, being on the cruise, and it was with a women's group that I was involved with, I had no idea. I never thought about being a flight attendant. Now, in my background, I did serve in the Air Force for 12 years. This was like many, many years ago. So I did fly from place to place, and one thing that I do like to do is I love to travel. So when the idea came up, I was like, and so one of my friends, she actually is a flight attendant for Delta, and she referred me at the time. Delta, this was in November last year, Delta was actually, they had put out, their, they put out advertisement for, they were looking for non-bilingual flight attendants. They also have positions where they were looking for bilingual flight attendants, and bilingual means that you speak another language, like Spanish or Cantonese or something that they're looking for. So my girlfriend, she referred me. I did apply. I did get through the process. With Delta, what they normally do, you put in the application process, or you put in the application, you go online, you put in the application. Then what will happen, if they're interested in you, they will send you a link. And that link will take you to what they call an assessment. And it can be pretty lengthy, the assessment. They ask you a lot of questions. And some of the questions, if you really, and if you've taken anything like it, you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty much the same questions, but they come and they ask you it from a different point of view. In other words, they're trying to see if you're being consistent with your answers. And so after you go through that process, then you get a phone call from, it's not going to be from Delta itself. It will be from a company that they use. I think they're called People Scout, that they will actually contact you on the phone. When they contact you, be prepared, because at that time they're going to be asking you a lot of questions. And most of the questions will be based upon your resume. It will be based upon customer service. For instance, I'm not going to tell you what kind of questions, because first of all, they're going to probably change the questions on you. And second, the questions that they ask you will be based around your resume that you submitted. So I always believe in being honest and being upfront. If you know you don't have customer service experience, don't lie and say you have customer service experience, because most of their questions, believe it or not, will be involved with how you relate with customers or customer service. So they will ask you anywhere between 5 to 6 questions. For instance, they may ask you, what did you do with when you had to deal with a irate customer, or if you had a coworker, you've seen a coworker that maybe they said, you caught them in a lie, or that they stole something. What would you do? So after you get through that series of questions, they will say, okay, well, either thank you, depending on how you answer the question, or if they feel like Delta may be interested in you based on your how you answered the questions, they will say, okay, well, we're going to forward your information up to a senior recruiter. The next call that you get, and it will either be like a 000 number sometimes, or it may even say Delta. On my phone, when I received the phone call from Delta, it did say Delta. As a matter of fact, I was out when they called, and they left a number, and I called them back. And at that time, it was actually the HR department of Delta that invited me to an open house or interview process. And most of the time you will hear the word open house. And what open house is some companies will use open house as they just want to see who will show up. And from that open house, they may invite how many people they want to come back on another day for an interview. But how Delta set theirs up, they actually had the process where you would come, and it was a big gala event. I would have to say it was probably one of the I can say most amazing, yet a little bit frightening. When I say frightening, it's because if you are a type of person that you are, pretty much laid back or whatever, when you come into their, where they have their interview, it's at a lounge, basically, and it's really, really nice. Everything is nice. There's a lot of HR people as well as flight attendants, and basically the whole scenario, and it lasted for me when I went through in November. It was about almost 5.5 hours, and it literally was 5.5 hours. What they do when you first get there, they will put you in different groups, and from there you will go from one area to another, which one of those areas will end up being interviewed. And after that experience, they will choose who they want to select. And unfortunately, I did not get selected by them, so I am not working for Delta. So I just want you to know that I'm not a Delta flight attendant. But I will end a series of of these videos sit down and try to explain my experience and some things that you may want to think about as far as before you actually go through an interview process with whoever, whatever airline that you're going through. But I did that interview and I did get a lot of exposure as far as what companies or airlines may be looking for. And I would have to say, a lot of times people will ask, well, what about my age? Am I too old? Well, I can say I am 51 and I got selected at the age of 51. So technically, the airlines cannot discriminate based on your race, your color, even weight. The thing that I would say about weight is that you have to be able to fit in their jump seat. If you are, and I'm a big girl, I have to admit, um, some airlines and I'll put it this way: the airline that I am currently employed with, there are people that are a lot heavier than I am. But I would recommend that you really, really look at, changing your eating habits. If you're a type of person that don't like to exercise, you probably want to start exercising because it is a physically sometimes draining job, because a lot of times you're going to be working from anywhere from 10 to, it may even be 14-hour days, and this will go on for maybe, depending on how your schedule is set up, it could be one day, it could be 2 days, it could be 4 days. They may give you like long periods of rest in between. When I say long periods of rest, you can have what we call layovers for like 12 to 15 hours. But in that 12 to 15 hours, you still got to count on the fact that you gotta, you gotta eat, you gotta sleep, whatever else you may have to do, prepare your, your uniform to wear to work, things like that. So that's why anything that you can do. I remember the guy telling us from crew scheduling when we met him the day that we graduated. He was saying that anything you can do up front to make it easier for you is better. So one of the things that I will say to you is that if you're not a person that has a good eating habits, or you don't like to exercise, you might either want to start doing that if you're seriously considering being a flight attendant, or if you know you're not going to do that, then you might not want to consider this career. So getting back to my decision. So basically, like I said, my girlfriend, she recommended me to apply, and I did become interested because I am a type of person. One, I do really, really like helping other people. I like being around other people. I enjoy traveling. And then I will talk a little bit about being a mother and traveling. So I'm not going to talk about that here because I don't want to make the videos too long. But I did interview and what happened after that point, because I can tell you, when most of us, we want to get with the mainline company like Delta, American, Southwest, those are all big names, and some other ones, but they also have what they call regional airlines, which most of the time for regionals, and I actually do fly for a regional, they fly under one of the major airlines logo. Again, I'm not going to tell you who I fly with. If by chance anyone may know from some of the things that I say who I fly with, I would really, really appreciate it if you not expose it when you make comments. Because, the bottom line is that we do take security very, very seriously. So I don't plan to share anything or say anything that I feel may be a security issue. So if there's something that you really want to know, You know, you can email me or you can find me on Facebook. I will probably let you know where you can find me on Facebook. I'm actually in a group on Facebook. It's called Flight Attendant Career Connection.